Magic might be the most important factor in any fantasy setting. How it manifests, how powerful it is, how it shapes the world. But what happens when your budget directly influences how you can make magic? What comes out of that? How do you adapt when all you have is some glowing orbs and a hula hoop? Magic becomes more grounded, more dependent on reality. And this might be what makes these 80s movies so intriguing, so strange, but somehow so close to us. Hi, I'm Gabriel and this is Weird Place. In this series of videos, I want to analyze how magic, and more specifically magic items, work in 80s fantasy. And I will try to gamify these items. I want to transform them into real cards that you can download and add to your TTRPG games, to your D&D, Shadowdark, Morkborg, Cairn, Daggerheart, whatever you want to do with them, you can. Also, a really cool illustrator named Heitor Ida will be making the art for these cards that you will be able to get in our Patreon. And one day, hopefully, we can make a physical copy of this deck. We will only work with films from the 80s on this, since that is the first fantasy boom after the creation of role-playing games. And we will analyze and talk about magic in them. In the first video, I will chat a bit about the subgenres of fantasy, and we will analyze the first of many Sword and Sorcery movies from the 80s. There were so many of them. The real OG one, Hawk the Slayer. And I can hear the soundtrack. And I will make magic items of all the stuff in the movie for you to download. So I don't love the name dark fantasy for all these movies in the 80s and the 90s. I will separate them in like two big chunks. There is your fairy tales. This was the most prevalent genre. It was your Labyrinth, your Never-Ending Story, Willow, Legend, The Princess Bride. They are structured around very symbolic imagery, archetypes and magical transformations. They emphasize emotion, mystery, atmosphere, and innocence. Innocence is always a big theme on these movies. There is an interesting text by Vladimir Prop that talks about that. It's called Morphology of the Folktale. If you look, he has 31 bullet points of things that happens in fairy tales. And if you want, if you're interested, you can try to bingo them while you watch Legend or Never-Ending Story, and you can check how many you can match. There will be a lot. So this was fairy tale. On the other hand, we have Sword and Sorcery. These movies are more grounded. Usually it is about the quest of this lonely warrior that is not even a hero really. He always has like very dubious intents. The conflicts are usually smaller too. There's no good guy saving the world from the Dark Lord. It's more this warrior or mercenary or this rogue who is using physical power to overcome obstacles. And they usually get what they want using force. This whole Sword and Sorcery thing comes from, of course, Robert E. Howard's Conan. The first story was The Phoenix on the Sword from 1932 that describes this badass King Conan fighting against some nobles and disgusting civilized people trying to overthrow him. It's pretty cool, there's a lot of violence. After that, Robert E. Howard wrote several other stories with the same character. He first wrote as a king, and then he wrote the trajectory of Conan to become a king. The Tower of the Elephant from 1933 is a very emblematic one. It shows Conan as a thief trying to steal a Jew. It is a pretty fun one actually. I just reread the other day. It's really good. There is intrigue, there is tavern brawls, there is cool and limited magic, there is some cosmic horror. It's pretty complete with all the tropes that you need. But Robert passed really young in 1936, and only 25 years later, in the pages of two fanzines, the covers look really cool, Emra and Arcalagon, would the name Sword and Sorcery actually be coined. If you want to dive deeper in the story of Sword and Sorcery, I really recommend this book. It's called Flame and Crimson by Brian Murphy. So the popularity of these books, plus the growth and expansion through the 70s of Dungeons & Dragons, and also the knowledge that there was money to be made with low-budget films, horror movies were all the rage in the 70s, and also a final element, a small one, called Star Wars: A New Hope, were all the ingredients needed for a boom of sword and sorcery movies. They were low budget, any place would do, countryside of England would be perfect, and they could appeal to the fantasy audience, already in love with Star Wars. All they needed to do was to change lightsabers for magic swords. Also, all the movies that we're going to talk about have some problematic views. There is some misogyny, xenophobia, and all the weird things that you can expect from an action movie from the 80s. I'm not interested in analyzing that aspect of it. I'm sure there is lots of people who wrote books and made video essays on it. I am only interested in how low-budget productions and technical limitations influence on the creation of the rules for magic in these universes. So if you decide to watch them, get ready for some real cringe. One of the earliest entries in this genre is a film called Hawk the Slayer. You can see the influence of Star Wars right off the bat. Look at the poster. Now side by side, what about the villain? Darth Vader much? Don't laugh, man. Hawk the Slayer is the creation of Terry Marcel and Harry Robertson. Both were lovers of sword and sorcery. They knew that Conan the Barbarian was trying to find backers to start movie production, so they saw the opportunity, and they set out to do a low-budget movie using all the hype for fantasy at the time. In the beginning, the movie was supposed to be more historical, but later they added magic, and we will soon see why magic was not in the first plan. They also wanted to do a spaghetti western, but in medieval England instead of the Wild West. That was the initial idea, and that's why the theme, the music hits so hard. I love it every time. It's great. One more time. It was a mix of a bunch of different genres and media stuff haphazardly put together on a really small budget. 600k was the budget for this movie, where 100k went to the villain, the actor Jack Palance, who brought to the table an amazing villain performance. We cannot say that it was not good. Is it worth 100k?
Fight! Or you die where you stand!
Look at how he slices bread. Now you tell me. So apart from that, the plot's very simple. There is this evil warlord, Wotan, who pretty much wants ultimate power, but right now he will settle for around 2,000 gold pieces from the church, so he kidnaps the Mother Supreme. His brother Hawk steps up to stop him. He wields a magic sword and a party full of misfits. So we got a giant fighter, Gwart. We got an elf ranger named Crow. He looks a lot like Spock. We got a Balden, a rogue dwarf with a whip. We really need more whips in TTRPGs. Whips are fun. And we got a blind sorceress, the last character and the best. And unfortunately, she has no name. Everybody just calls her Woman. Really? Woman?
Woman? Woman, we need the use of your magic.
Find the woman.
You did say south, woman.
I find it hard to believe that this great witch was like, you know what, just call me Woman. That is fine. Maybe they wanted to keep it mysterious, the writers, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt there. Anyways, Hawk gathers his party, and together they must rescue the nun, fight Wotan's forces. They need to also settle Hawk's and Wotan's family blood feud. It is a great movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it so much. So first item, Hawk has an amulet given by his lover, this golden cross. It has no name, so I name it Sunflare Talisman.
Wear it. It will protect you.
When someone attempts to do you harm, the amulet flares right in the face of your enemy, giving you a split-second chance to survive. Is it real? Is it fate? We will never know. But you know what is real? The amulet hides a blade inside, so if you need a quick weapon, you got it. So there is that character in the movie that they never named, just call Woman. She's mysterious, that's why, she's very mysterious. But she's actually the real MVP of the movie. Pretty much 80% of all the problems in the movie she solves with magic. And the coolest item of them all is her staff. I name it Staff. I thought it was fitting. So this staff you can hold exactly like you hold a shotgun. And you can, I imagine, press a rune, carve on it, maybe utter a word, but an insane amount of silly string comes out of it and completely encapsulates the enemy in a cocoon, imprisoning them for an undisclosed amount of time. Hopefully at some point it dissolves. It is an amazing item, it's so random. Oh my god, what a beautiful staff! Do you wave your staff in the air to conjure magical powers? No, I hold like a machine gun and I shoot silly strings on everybody. Magic! Next we have the witch stones. The woman uses these special stones for everything. This is her specialty. These stones can create a thick mist that can cloak her allies, they can summon a storm to confuse your enemies, they can also put around a dead body to conjure a dome of protection so animals do not eat whoever is inside. It's definitely the most versatile item I ever seen. And next there is the Cauldron of Teletransportation, or how I name it, the Translocation Cauldron. It's a really cool cauldron. Basically you prepare a potion with coal, fire, a memento of someone, and some special powder. Let's call it trans powder. When you ignite the flame with the trans powder, it creates a hula hoop-like portal who appears a couple of feet away. So if someone steps into that portal, the hula hoop thing, they are transported directly to the person who owns the memento that they put it in the cauldron. But the portal only stays open while the cauldron operator feeds with trans powder, so it's really cool. The operator cannot be teletransported, only the person. And if you do not enter before it closes, you are stuck wherever you are. You can bring an extra person with you too, there is a hula hoop on the other side. It is great to pick up someone that you need, but it is also perfect for a crazy heist. So the last item and the most important one is the only one who has a name in the movie, is the Mind Sword. In the card, it will be called Thought Steal, so they don't sue us. It is a bootleg homage, people, please don't come for us. Anyways, this two-handed longsword is a combination of two items. The last Elven Stone,
The last Elfin Mind Stone,
and the sword itself. The sword has a hand on the hilt, where if you follow the proper ritual, the Mind Stone can be inserted, forming the Mind Sword, or the Thought Steal. The Mind Stone glows and can perform all sorts of incredible magic. The main thing of the Mind Sword, or the Thought Steal, is the telekinetic link. You can bring the sword to your hand with just a thought. Look at Hawk here, using it to kill this man. Just like they use the Force, they also bootlegging. Also important to note, this sword can open ancient portals. Here, Hawk needs to pass through the land of the dead, is an archway that he needs to go through, so he must raise the sword and voila, portal for the dead. And also, the sword is a protection circle. The sword emits this glowing dome of protection where everybody inside is protected for the undead and the haunted. Also, I do not need to mention, but it is mega sharp. All magic swords in these movies are mega sharp. It is a given. There will be a scene on all these movies where a sword cuts something that it shouldn't cut. There is also a graphic novel of Hawk the Slayer by Garth Ennis. It's really cool actually. They got all the tropes of the movie and they did a whole comic book. If you really like the movie and you want to read the comic book, it's also really fun too. But watch the movie first, then read the comic book. And this is the Mind Sword, or Thought Steal, the biggest item in the movie. And that's where I close Hawk the Slayer. I hope you enjoy it. We are finishing up the cards, but they soon be available for our patrons. And we hope that soon we can print them in a deck of cards so you can use them physically. And I will keep doing videos like this and updating everybody on new movies and new cards. So like and subscribe if you want to follow this journey into 80s movies and Sword and Sorcery. The next movie that we're gonna talk about is The Sword and the Sorcerer. If you wanna watch before I talk about it, that's the moment.
And a mystical sword is forged for a mighty warrior who rises out of legend to topple a kingdom.
And yeah, I wanna thank all our patrons for supporting us, for helping us. A big shout out to them. Thank you. See you in the next one. And yeah, I see you guys in the next episode of 80s Magic.
Rolling, okay, rolling, and cauldron, rolling.
And-
No, not